Hey everybody, Josh Sayerton, World Alternative Media here, and of course we're joined by author and economic analyst here. I'm John Sneisen, and we may have actual good news for you when it comes down to cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin especially, and the reason for that is we'll look at this Yahoo Finance article where it says, above 7K, Bitcoin eyes gains after death cross fails, and it says, despite having witnessed a so-called death cross over the weekend, Bitcoin is now eyeing gains above the $7,000 mark. The much feared technical indicator bearish crossover between the 50-day moving average and the 200-day moving average was confirmed over the weekend, but as anticipated by CoinDesk, the oversold conditions seem to have put a floor under Bitcoin prices. So I want to go into this real quick because I find this interesting. As that article by Yahoo Finance was written around the $7,000 mark, it's hit above 7,500 cent, and it's around, as we speak, about $7,400. Now, this might seem very low to you, considering it was at $20,000 in December. Trust us, we are all feeling the pain of that, but there is a good side to this. So first of all, I want to talk about going back in 2013, we saw a death cross. I believe we actually saw two death crosses in that time period, and it was a little ugly. But in one case, with the death cross, we actually saw the 200-day moving average get support on the death cross. We saw that it kind of bounced off, and we saw these massive gains in the Bitcoin price. And that could happen again. Now, it could go the opposite direction, where we also saw in a past death cross situation a massive crash. So let's be real here. Speculation is completely off the table. You have to understand basic, generalized, collective human psychology to really know what's going to happen next. And there is so much FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt in the media through fake stories, absolutely fake stories like the South Korean FUD story where they're saying that they're going to ban Bitcoin, or the India ban Bitcoin story, both fake, both nonsense.
Or the paid central bank ones from Poland.
Yeah, there was actually a paid YouTube video that was supposed to be FUD. I mean, okay, look, in the end, we will get intervention and manipulation no matter what kind of market you're in, decentralized or not, because of course, if you are a threat to a massive, powerful establishment, that powerful establishment is going to do whatever they can to push you down. And we've seen that, but they can only spread fake stories so much because there's only so many countries they can claim are banning it. And if they did ban it, it would be unenforceable and absolutely absurd. I'd like to see them try. What was it? Indonesia or some country like that did it, and it barely even affected. It barely even affected the price. But look, there are problems. Governments will try to intervene, but when we look at this recent correction, it was a massive one. There's no doubt about it, and a lot of us anticipated it. A couple weeks before it happened, when everyone was still going to the moon, I was saying, look, we're going to see a massive crash soon. It's going to happen. Unfortunately, we are going to have to possibly take profits, but I don't give advice to people. I just give my opinion. So people were all mad because I didn't give them advice, which I could get sued for, because look, people have to do their own due diligence. It comes down to responsibility, financial responsibility. That's why you should even be in this cryptocurrency community in the first place, is to understand money, and that is why you're in it, to get away from the fiat central banking system, the centralization. But John, what do you think about all this?
Well, I'm going to take the look and look at the Bitcoin price versus the Venezuelan bolivar, which has actually been very good. It hasn't meanwhile it lost. You know, it went from 200, from about 20,000 at the top all the way down to almost 6,000. It actually, at 6,000, it had the same value as it had when it was 20,000. So that means that the Bolivar actually lost tremendous amount of value versus Bitcoin over the same period of time. So if you held Bitcoin in Venezuela, you were actually very well off compared to other people. You sustained your value versus the fiat. And then, of course, in Venezuela, they've been going after Bitcoin miners, taking away their Bitmain miners. I remember, Jeff Berwick was posting a Venezuela news article where they stand, the generales were standing in front, like with their machine guns, confiscated, a money laundering operation.
The only guys with machine guns in that country, by the way.
Yeah, but and what was really interesting, of course, when you saw the launch of the Petro that they had, their fake backed, oil backed, gold backed cryptocurrency that they claim. I would say far away from any government created currency. That's
especially when it comes from a government that just hyperinflated its currency.
Yeah, and what's even funnier is you should see all those miners that they had. They look eerily similar to the ones that they confiscated. So who knows? They might be sitting there mining their own little currency, thinking that they're gonna get somewhere with that because Bitcoin did it, so we can do it as well.
Well, they do like manipulating the price down so they could buy it up under when it's at its bottom, like we saw in South Korea with the FUD when they claimed that they were going to ban it, and then it turned out they weren't going to ban it. But then I'm pretty sure they actually got accused of market manipulation and insider trading because they probably bought up the bottom. And look, I've been saying this for a while. I've been saying this since about $6,000 Bitcoin, that we haven't seen the bottom yet. I don't believe we've seen the bottom yet, but I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I really hope I'm wrong, by the way. Like, really, I'm so sick of this bear market, but I mean, it had to happen. I mean, how spoiled can we possibly be to be making such huge gains, 20x, more than 20x in 2017? I mean, how incredibly greedy can we be? This gives us a chance to actually sit back and understand the true reason for cryptocurrencies existing in the first place, not just going, oh, I'm getting rich, Lambos and, hookers. Like, really?
Yeah, well, that's what happens in any euphoria in any market. You see that everywhere in the financial markets, whatever it is, they go and buy stripper, like do whatever, they're just going crazy, right? But what we got to remember with Bitcoin is currently, even at the price that it's at, it's way above, it's over 70% above the percent that it was last year at this time. So that you got to really understand that it actually has found another floor. And I've been talking about this, Bitcoin always goes up crazy and then it crashes down pretty hard, but then it finds a new floor. And this has happened every single time except for 1 year. I think it was 2011 when it went from $17, I think, at the high, and then next year it was $5, but then it went, crazy.
Well, I remember actually sitting with Dan Dix of Press for Truth in his kitchen in BC not that long ago, I think in October, where I was looking at the price and we're going, wow, all-time highs, 5,800. I mean, oh no, it's only at 7,500 now? Oh, that's just terrible. Like, come on, folks. Let's go into this real quickly, John, because I always have to mention it because we always get the comments from people that are misunderstanding the idea of Bitcoin, which is that so many people believe that Bitcoin is Fiat 2.0, and it is not Fiat 2.0, folks. Fiat currency is legal tender currency based in debt, printed out of thin air with no cap on creation, completely centrally planned into oblivion, quantitative easing, the fractional reserve lending, all that craziness. And then, of course, Bitcoin is in no way centralized. It's decentralized for the most part. And of course, it's created out of thin air, but has a cap on it. It is not enforced. There will only ever be 21 million Bitcoins in the year 2140. It's based on scarcity, demand, and application use, which is exactly, amazingly, wait for it, what gold and silver are based on: scarcity, demand, and application use.
Yeah, it was created on the back of the structure of how gold is getting created and how gold works. Yeah. And of course, that's what it has done. Like, it's just kept on, having a new value. And of course, people have to understand that any fiat currency, it's usually when you have a government in place to, have control over it. I was reading about one of the biggest banks in Amsterdam. That was the first bank in Amsterdam. And what was interesting about that bank was one of the first privately run banks.
What was it called?
It was. I got to go back and see it. It's one of the first banks. It's in 1600s, all the way back to the Dutch Empire. But what was interesting, they had a massive bank run, and then they had two other in Rotterdam and another place where they failed. They didn't have enough receipts because they were backed by gold. But the main one actually held up, and it was the first ever bank that managed to hold up against the bank run ever in history. And they managed to go forward. But then, of course, they failed later on because they started to fractionalize again. But at that time, that bank had 100% backing that they promised the people, and they actually managed to stand up to it. But that's very rare in history. You don't see that very much. Most of the history, most of the stories that I read is, governments, printing massive amounts of money. They think that they can create a wealth effect. They create it for a little bit, and then it's pretty boring after a while. Like, look at the baby boomers and that generation and all that debt that they created. Well, that was a massive amount of wealth that they created into existence. But look at now, we're starting to struggle. We're in so much debt around the world, and the same thing is going to happen again because of governments destroying the monetary supply again. And that's why a cap on it that Bitcoin has is so important. It's just like, I don't know, like it's like a good analogy would be like any fiat currency today would be a little bicycle for a little kid with little practice wheels on, and then Bitcoin would be closer to maybe a Lamborghini or similar. That's how
a bike or a motorcycle with like a nitro fuel booster thing at the bottom. I don't know. More crazy metaphors by this guy over here, but I think it's really important to like look at how important cryptocurrency can be for the future. And let's make it clear, like 95% of the cryptocurrencies out there are trash, just terrible. There is a pets.com type .com bubble coming. I'm surprised this didn't completely take care of it.
Kittens, Josh.
Yeah, well, I mean, when it comes down to it, there are pets.com type cryptocurrencies out there. Most of them are like that, where they don't have any fundamental value. So that doesn't speak for Bitcoin. That doesn't speak for great ICOs like EOS. That doesn't speak for great cryptocurrencies like Monero, Dash, etc. That is only speaking for the fact that those individual cryptocurrencies are terrible, just like gold versus rusted bronze or something. Yeah, gold is going to win over it.
And don't listen to the CEO of Twitter saying that there will only be one currency left in the crypto world, and that would be Bitcoin. That's a stupid idea too as well. It's just a way for them. They wanting the ultimate power of just like Bitcoin. Yeah, it's like one monopoly on No, that's not what we try to create with cryptocurrencies. We try to destroy their system, and then we're trying to make it into a monopoly again. No, stop it. It's just stupid. Let's all these cryptocurrencies out there that are really good, like the ones that Josh was mentioning, let them go and fight each other head on and see who wins.
Yeah, I can't forget Steam. So much fundamental value there. And, when it comes down to it, I mean, there's going to be Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash. I'm not going to take sides there. Whatever wins, it's competing currency. It's a demand of individuals with their dollar on what they like best. That is a great, beautiful thing. That is markets deciding rather than governments deciding, and that's where we need to look towards, is individual demand and free markets, competing currency systems, and diversification, of course. Gold and silver, I actually prefer gold and silver to anything, but there's wealth insurance, and then there's that which is actually going to have enough effect right now to actually overthrow the central banking system, because I don't think gold and silver by themselves can, at this moment or any time in the near future, actually overthrow the central banking system. I think that they are great wealth insurances, and they have been throughout history. I just think cryptocurrencies have a more technological advantage to taking down the central banking system, which is why I love them so much, and that's why I support them, because in the end, if you get rid of the central banks, you get rid of the need for nonstop war around the world to prop up the monetary system. So hey, we could actually have a world without constant wars and destruction of people who we don't know across the seas under the guise of keeping it free, and actually in reality stealing all their gold.
Well, exactly. Yeah. What you got to remember is most of the ends of any fiat currencies is throughout war. War is one of the biggest enders of any fiat currency in the world. And of course, the United States has been in war for the last 200 years. So they've been, devaluing their currency tremendously. We are going to see a huge revolution coming up, and you haven't seen the last of Bitcoin or any of the other cryptocurrencies. They're just coming back way stronger this time. We got a little bit of public, public came in and actually saw what it was kind of all about. They're starting to learn slowly. A lot of people lost a hell of a lot of money. But they're trying to figure out what the heck is this thing and what is it all about. And more people, you saw that throughout the last 2-3 years. Just look at the YouTube channels that's just bursted into the air. Hundreds upon hundreds of crypto people talking about free markets, talking about gold and silver, talking about all this in a point of view that makes sense and not just this euphoria trading thing that's going on.
Yeah. All-time highs, baby. But let's not focus completely on speculation. Let's look at the value involved involved, and then we will prevail. But as long as we are greedy and we want more all the time, then we're going to end up with less. So let's focus on that. Of course, this is our opinion, not financial advice. It's very important to make that clear. People have to do their own due diligence, look into things yourself, and don't put money into things that you don't understand, because that's just stupid. That's dumb. So anyway, we will continue to go into this subject in the future. We haven't been reporting on cryptocurrencies as much lately because there hasn't been much to add to the situation. It's been in a bear market, and it could even continue for a bit longer. It looks like we might have some support off the death cross. We will see, but we won't know until it happens. So let's just keep watching, and also focus on other things, other cryptocurrencies that are doing quite well. Ethereum's founder Vitalik Buterin basically just gave EOS the win as of today, as I'm speaking here, saying he's taking a break from updating to help starving kids somewhere, and which is great, good for him. And then EOS, he congratulated Dan Larimer, who we've interviewed here at WAM, and said good job with EOS IO and all that. So keep looking towards June. There could be something big coming your way when that ICO is finished, one of the biggest ICOs in history, folks. And all I could say is there's going to be some good news coming with EOS, so I'm really excited about that. And Steam's been doing well. SBD for some reason has continued up. I don't know why. Anyway.
Yeah, and it was a great night. Last night I set, the Bitcoin price to SBD. I set it really high, and suddenly it sold, and that has taken about 2 weeks now. So things are starting to happening. They're kind of lurching back again. You've seen people like starting to be, putting their little toes in the water, getting a little feel of what's happening next. And we never know when this could take off again. So people got to be prepared.
Good to see less fear and misery for a change. It's been a few months. Anyway, thanks for going into this with us, John. And until next time, this is Josh Sigurdsson and John Sneisen signing out from World Alternative Media. Find the truth. Be the change. Like what you see here at WAM, don't forget to check the links below. GoFundMe, Patreon. We can't do it without you. Any donation is very much appreciated, especially as we are so vastly demonetized and censored by YouTube, as the ADL comes in and flags all of our content as hate speech. You can also find our Bitcoin address in the description as well as on the screen for you to scan, if you please. And don't forget to find us at Josh Sigurdsson at steemit.com. That's steemit.com, the future of social media, where you get paid in the upvote of your post in cryptocurrency. Steem, that is. So don't forget to find us there. And until next time, this is Josh Sigurdsson signing out from World Alternative Media. Find the truth, be the change.